Hello everybody, welcome back to Quarter Words and Pages. My name is Natalie, and today I'm going to be making a follow-up video to a video I made last year. It's actually the second video I ever made on this channel. I talked about 5 books I physically own that I really wanted to read, and this year I'm going to be providing you all with another 5. My book collection has expanded immensely since last year, partially because I've had a Fairy Loot subscription for the last year. I know I've just generally been getting more books, so I have many more books to talk about, but I think I'm still going to keep it at 5 and just pick and choose from among the ones that I really do want to read. So the first book that I really want to read is Kingdom of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair. This book just came out 2 weeks ago, maybe, and I did pre-order it, and so I'm very excited to read this book. I read part of Scarlett St. Clair's A Touch of Darkness series, and I think that is an absolutely amazing fantasy romance series. I follow her on Instagram, and all the teasers I have seen from this book just seem like it's going to be amazing. So while I'm really excited for this book, I don't know a whole lot about it. I know one of our main characters is a vampire and the other character has to marry him, but besides that, I don't really know much more, so I'm going to read you guys the back of the book. Isolde de Lara considers her wedding day to be her death day. To end a years-long war and protect the people of her kingdom, she is to marry the vampire king Adrian and kill him. But her assassination attempt is thwarted, and Adrian warns that if Isolde tries to kill him again, he will raise her as the undead. Faced with the possibility of becoming the thing she hates the most, Isolde seeks other ways to defy him and survive the violence and political machinations of Adrian's brutal vampire court. Except it isn't the court she ends up fearing the most. It's Adrian and her intense attraction to him. Wrapped in mystery and a past he refuses to discuss, Adrian nevertheless starts to become less of a monster to Isolde. Despite their undeniable chemistry, Isolde can't help wondering why the king, fierce, complicated, ambitious, and at times inexplicably tender, chose her as consort. The answer will shatter her world. So I'm just really excited about this. I think this is going to be some good enemies to lovers, and I think this is one I am hoping to read before the end of the year. One that came in November Fairy Loot is Jade Fire Gold by June C. Tim. And once again, I don't know a whole lot about this book. I've seen stuff around about it, thought, oh, this looks really pretty. I've seen reviews of it, and I figured out that I would be getting this book in a box, and so I was like, okay, I bet I'll read it. So this is another one that has a very short blurb, so I'll just read this one out as well. In an empire on the Brick of Warren, On is no one, with no past and no family. Alton is a lost heir, his future stolen away as a child. When they meet, Alton sees in On a path to reclaiming the throne. On sees a way to finally unlock her past and understand her lethal magic abilities, but they may have to pay a far deadlier price than either could have imagined. So I think this one is also going to have some romantic parts in it, but mostly it's the story of them and their interconnected fates and such. So yes, this is another one I don't know a whole lot about, but I've seen it around a lot, and it's just one that I'm generally really excited to read. One that I got for Christmas last year, have been waiting until my book came out, and now I think there's a readathon being hosted for this book early next year, which hopefully will prompt me to actually pick it up and read it, is Jade City by Fonda Lee. I have heard nothing but absolutely amazing things about this book and this series, and I am so excited. So the little I do know about this book is we're set in this world where it's on this island and there's rival families that fight over control of Jade. And Jade is very important because Jade is how they access magic. But then I think it starts to become that people can artificially make Jade and stuff, and so people are starting to abuse the power of Jade that aren't from this island of warriors, and I think they have to stop that somehow. So I have heard nothing but amazing things about this book. The plot, the magic system I've heard is really good, and often I've heard the fighting is really good because Fonda Lee studied martial arts, and so she uses a lot of that in the book itself to make the action sequences really cool and realistic. So yeah, this is one that it's a big chunky fantasy book, but I'm really excited I'm going to read, and all 3 books are out now, so that's a bonus. So this next one is not a fantasy book, and I figured I should probably not make all the books on this list fantasy because I do have the rare contemporary on my shelves that I need to make sure I read. This one is Take Me Home Tonight by Morgan Matson. I have read, I think, all of Morgan Matson's other books, and I've liked most of them. I think her most recent one, besides this one, Save the Date, I did not enjoy as much, but I'm excited for this one because unlike her other books, this one doesn't really sound like it's going to be as much of a romance. So this book is following Kat and Stevie, and they are best friends, and it's following them on this wild night they have in New York City. They plan this trip that they're gonna sneak away from their houses, go travel to New York City, have this fun night. They have it all planned out, and you know what could go wrong except for when they get to New York, things start to go terribly wrong. And so this is just following them over this night as they also come to some recollections about future friendship and all the fun stuff. So I think that this book is going to be really nice to read, because sometimes it is nice to get a break from romance. And also, I'm hoping that some of the things these characters are dealing with in this book, I'll be able to relate to them in my life, because it sounds like they're high school kids, and I am too. So I'm hoping that I'll really be able to relate to some of the struggles that these characters are facing. And I'm just hoping it's done really well. Sometimes I think it can be a bit tricky with some older authors to convey the feelings that high schoolers do feel, but I think Morgan Matson is one that does it pretty good, although not all of her books I've loved, but I'm excited to see how this one goes. Also, I just need to add that, like, instead of an author photo on the back, there's just this. And I think it's because there's something to do with dogs in the book, but like picking this book up and just seeing this on the back is kind of alarming. Okay, and the final book that is going on this list is Black Sun by Rebecca Renhorst. This book I think I've had for about a year or so, a bit over a year. I think I got it in October of last year. And this is one that I'm just like really excited about. So I think I've kind of been holding off because I am, one, intimidated by this book, and two, I've been waiting a bit until the release date of the sequel is closer, and I still don't know exactly when it is, but I'm hoping it's soon. I just looked it up, and the sequel is supposed to come out in April of next year, so that's not too bad. And I'm just really intimidated by this book. I mean, looking at the back of this book, it's blurred by Ken Liu, who I've heard of one of his series, Stephen Graham Jones, who has written 2 very popular books, S.A. Chakraborty, who wrote the City of Brass series, which is one of the most popular adult fantasy series, Arth Kwong, who wrote one of my favorite fantasy series and one of the most popular fantasy series. And then also a few other authors that have also written pretty notable works in the fantasy genre. I'm just like, this is a popular book, and I'm very intimidated by it. Also, one thing that's just slightly been putting me off from reading it, I don't know how petty this is the map of it is like on the hardcover itself. I strongly dislike that, but that's okay. I will survive. Oh wait, is the map on the back different? Oh my god, the map on the back is different. I did not know that. I just don't like having like the maps on 2 different places that can actually on the book, but that is a side tangent. So in this book we're following a few different plot lines, but the main thing we're following is the approaching winter solstice, which is usually this time for celebration, except for on the same day as the winter solstice is a solar eclipse, which is said to be the unbalancing of worlds. And then we're also following a captain and her ship who have set out for this main city in the world, set to arrive on the winter solstice. And on her ship she is carrying one passenger, this strange mysterious man who is scarred but also has a very significant destiny. And I know this book also focuses and touches a lot on pre-Columbian America and stuff like that. So I don't think this is going to be an easy read. I think this is going to be very dark, but I'm super excited for it because I feel like even from the synopsis it's pretty vague, but I've just heard people absolutely raving about this book since it came out, and I'm just sure I'm gonna love it. I feel like these videos are kind of hard to make because besides from, oh, I've just heard people saying they're gonna love it, I don't always have a lot to justify why I really want to read these books, except for I just have like this gut feeling that they're going to fit in with what I like. But so yes, those were the 5 books I own that I most want to read. So hopefully I will actually read these books. I don't know actually how many I'll be able to read before 2022, but so hopefully my goal is to make another one of these mid-year next year. So yeah, and it's not like these are the only books I'll be reading from my shelves. I do have some other ones I want to read that at the time they may just fit more with what I want to read at that moment, and so I'll just pick them up instead. Yeah, those are probably my 5 most anticipated reads that I own. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Down below you will find links to all the books I talked about, as well as my Bookstagram and my Goodreads if you want to follow me there. Subscribe to see more content from me, and I'll see y'all in my next video very soon. Bye!